Look at this. The Yield Robbins burial place. I'm in New Jersey here. I think this is Freehold or somewhere around central New Jersey. This is an old cemetery here. It was really forgotten for a long time. It's up this trail. And yes, I was not lying in the thumbnail and in the title. Abraham Lincoln's aunt actually is buried up here in a cemetery that was really forgotten for a long time. It's only kind of recently been, people come up here once in a while and at least weed whack it. But I'm going to explain to you the whole story as to why she's buried here. Just up this way as soon as I find her grave. So you could go down a rabbit hole with the Lincoln family. So I did the basic information just to understand what I was looking at and what the situation is here. So I believe this cemetery pretty much started around 1695, maybe just shortly after, which is why it has 1695 on that plaque out by the road. A man named Daniel Robin purchased this land in 1695, 500 acres of it, and this was kind of like the local cemetery to the few people that lived in this area. But how did Abraham Lincoln's great aunt come to be buried here? So way back in the day, there was a man named Richard Salter who came here to start up an iron forge, a mill. And Abraham Lincoln and Mordecai Lincoln, it's a little confusing because there's a lot of the same names throughout the timeline. But those two came here to work as iron masters in that forge. Mordecai married Richard Salter's daughter, Hannah. They married in 1710, and then they had some kids, and one of those kids was Deborah Lincoln. Now, she died at age 3. She was likely born in 1717. She died of a childhood disease. That's all I could find. So you can see it says Deborah, Deborah, Deborah Lincoln. The L, the second L in Lincoln is pretty much gone. But you can kind of see where it used to be. It was right in here. Age 3, I think it was 3 years, 4 months. I think that's what it says. And then May, I don't know, 1720. Now Mordecai and Hannah Salter, her parents, are both buried in the Exeter Friends Cemetery in Pennsylvania, not too far from here, maybe about an hour or so. And they had lived in Pennsylvania for a short time before they settled in Kentucky. You can see all these, I believe they're all markers. Very, very old. In fact, some people have put sticks in them. So like I was saying, I believe that the Lincoln family moved from here, at least that section of the Lincoln family, lived in Pennsylvania for a short time, and then they ended up settling in Kentucky. I'm guessing that this is where she died. I mean, they had her 1770, she died in 1720. They were probably still here, living here, so they just buried her here. So as far as what happened to this cemetery goes, I read that it's actually still somewhat in the original family. I guess the cemetery was lost for a long time, and then it was kind of believed that it was the town the town-owned property, but then I read something online where a gentleman tracked down the deed to the property, gentleman who lives in Maryland, and he still owns it. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because then you kind of are the one that has to maintain it, I guess. But there's obviously a group of people who come out here and they at least weed whack it once in a while or something. I mean, it's, yeah, like some of these still have some initials. That may be hard to see, but if you like poison ivy, this is a good spot too. Lots of poison ivy. DeBow. A lot of DeBows here. This is the entire DeBow family. All died. Look at this. All right, so that's 1872, but look at this. 1880, 1884, 1896. And they had a lot of people die in the span of a few decades. 1867. This looks like possibly 50 or 1856. This is I can't even read this, maybe 1887. Wow, the whole DeBow family is here. Also, for anybody who's into this type of history, I read that one of the Lincolns married, I believe her name is Mary Mudd, and it would be interesting if there was any distant connection to Samuel Mudd, Dr. Mudd, who worked on John Wilkes Booth's leg. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's if there's any kind of connection there or not. I couldn't find any, but who knows? But someone comes out, and some of these veterans, they put the flags. There's a couple of them out here. Interesting place. And Ann Major, she died in 1813. Oh, I'm sorry, she was born in 1813. Boy, this is sunk into the ground. Died 1873. Oh wow, yeah, there's more out here. Yeah, very crudely carved. Oh, yeah, they kind of continue back here, all the way back into the woods. So who knows how many people are actually buried here? Could be well over 200. And then it gets to the point where you don't even know, is this just a rock? Or is this a grave? Because this one right here, which just looks like a rock, I don't know. I mean, it's probably a grave. The fact that it's on its side like that. It's one of the few more decorative ones, fancier ones here. This is William H. Johnson. Died 1911, I believe it says. Most of them are not that decorative. So there you go. That's some brief history of the Lincoln family, at least in a New Jersey perspective. That family just keeps going and going. I mean, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more confusing to look up, but fascinating. So if you're into that kind of history, I mean, dive in because it's a rabbit hole of information.